Welcome to Learn to Thrive with ADHD. Thank you for taking the time to be with me today. So, can we talk about consistency? Do you expect yourself to be consistent? Do you struggle with consistency? I think expecting consistency of yourself is unfair, especially if you have ADHD. I'm going to offer you some other ways to think about it and tell you what you can do instead and still get the results that you want. Consistency is the most oversold advice out there, and it's crushing people with ADHD. 100% consistency is an unfair thing to try to live up to, and it just isn't real. I can hear you now. Yes, it is. I know someone that's 100% consistent. Maybe you even feel like that's you in some ways. Here's what I've noticed. We can do pretty well in things we're interested in, but once the interest fades, so does our consistency. And that's why it feels unfair with ADHD. Our brains don't run on steady fuel. We run on interest and energy, and those rise and fall. That's not failure, that's reality. ADHD brains run on dopamine and novelty, not steady motivation. So inconsistency isn't a personality flaw, it's a part of how we're wired. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about freedom. So let's talk about the definition. Marked by harmony, regularity, or steady continuity, free from variation or contradiction. Do you even want that? Do you want to be free from variation? On paper, that sounds great, but in reality, with ADHD, it can feel suffocating. And that's why this word makes you cringe. Routine. You know you need it. You even know that it would help, but the word routine makes your brain itch. Here's the twist. The right routines don't box you in. They give you freedom because they take decisions off your plate. Here's what I do with my clients. I set them up with routines so that they can be mostly consistent. Why? Number one, mostly consistent is a lot better than they were doing before. And number two, once you get set in a routine, you don't have to think anymore. You just do it. And that frees up brain space for the things that you actually want to be thinking about. We blame ourselves when we can't stay consistent. We feel lazy. We carry shame for something that isn't actually our fault. So if consistency feels impossible, here's what actually works. I believe we get caught up in a comparison trap with other people who don't have the same brain as us. I said something like this to a client and they said yes, and they don't want us to see the ways that they aren't consistent so that they look perfect. And that's the trap. We compare our behind the scenes to their highlight reel. I told her, for most people, I don't think they're trying to look perfect. We just only see what they do well and what we are doing poorly. So if consistency is off the table, what do we do instead? Have you stopped wanting things for yourself? It happens to so many of us. Either you get too focused on those around you, or you tried some things and they didn't work out. And the pain of that made you decide, if I just stop wanting, it doesn't hurt. If that's you, don't worry. What I'm going to share next prevents that pain from happening. So sit down with yourself. If you could do anything, if you couldn't fail, if nothing was too big or too costly, think money or time, what would you want? How can you have that to some degree in the next year? Some version of that thing. How can you move that closer? This is step one to making consistency work for you, not against you. What's the least I need to do that still counts? And what's the most? We're talking minimums and maximums. Exercise is always an easy example. I'll walk for 5 minutes minimum, or I'll weight train my whole body maximum. Or say you're nurturing a relationship, I'll send a text minimum, or I'll plan a day with them and follow through maximum. This is how you would avoid the all or nothing thinking and keep moving forward. How will you make this a routine in your life? Where does it fit in easily? When is it the easiest for you to do? If you're like most of us, you run out of mental or physical energy at certain times in the day. Don't do new or hard stuff at those times. And then practice. How many days in a row can you do it? How will you track it? Because your brain will lie to you about it. Here's an example right from my life. I worked out consistently for more than 4 weeks. And then I was off for nearly a week, maybe 2. And I legitimately forgot about the 4 weeks. And all I could focus on was the time that I was off. I had decided that I was failing at this goal and that I'd never get anywhere and I might as well quit. And then I looked at the calendar and I counted the weeks from when I started. I couldn't believe it. Even though I knew at the end of each week working out consistently, I would tell my friend, but I couldn't pull that memory up when it would have helped me. But I had a start date and I had an app where I tracked my workouts. Make your tracking easy and visible because your brain will lie. So the next time your brain says, I'm failing, ask yourself, is that true or is that a lie? You can want to quit and you can even baby quit. That's my version of the tiny quit for a small period of time. A baby quit is like hitting pause, pulling back for a short time, but not giving up completely. But quitting completely is not an option. And if that's true, what does that mean you might as well do? Keep trying. There is nothing good that I have done that didn't require a lot of quitting and restarting. Even in my most important relationships with my husband and children, I have versions of quitting and restarting. Some days I just don't want to be a loving wife. I'm in a bad mood. Maybe I'm exhausted. Maybe everything he does is irritating that day, even if it's not really his fault. On those days, I might baby quit. I might keep more to myself, not really participate in the relationship, but I'm not getting a divorce, right? That's a good example there. And honestly, it's showing me who I want to be in these relationships. Never do I come out of a funk like this or an argument and think, yep, that's how I wanted to show up. That's how I wanted to act. Never. I learn more about who and how I want to be. It's actually growth that looks like quitting. I promise you, every time you quit and restart, you're getting better and better. You're becoming more of who you want to be. Consistency isn't about never quitting. It's about what you do after you quit. I'm hesitant to call this failure. It's not the right word because when you're failing, when you break a streak, or when you quit a week or a month, the only real failure is quitting for good. And that usually comes down to how you talk to yourself in those moments. Decide ahead of time what you will say to yourself when you miss, when you aren't consistent, because that voice will pick you back up or end you. So what will failure mean to you? A dead end or a reset button? You can't fail until you quit. I just had this happen with something I told my accountability coach I'd be doing. I like to do a mix of things with my morning check-in with my accountability coach. When I can, I do something for business, family, and fun. I decided for fun, I would go to the pool in the evening. First day, I completely forgot I even said I would go. So I tweaked where I was putting those intentions that I was telling her, and I put them where they were visible and I couldn't forget. Second evening, I stayed at our gym office later than I would have, so it couldn't be helped. I didn't have time to go. Was that a failure or inconsistency? Or was I just learning that the pool on weekdays wasn't realistic for me? That's the thing. Failure isn't the end. It's just information. It's feedback that helps you adjust and keep going. That's the difference. Failure tells you what doesn't work. Consistency is about trying again in a way that does. So ask yourself today, where can you show up one more time, even if you've quit before? Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about trying again and again. Thanks for listening to Learn to Thrive with ADHD. If you found this helpful, would you share it with a friend who might need it? And if you're listening on the podcast, leave a quick rating or review wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps more people like us find the podcast. All right, I will see you next week. Thank you for your time today and especially your attention. If you're anything like me, you love to learn. Sometimes, though, we can know what to do, but struggle to put it into action without the right support. That's what private ADHD coaching is for, to give you the unique support and accountability you need to make the change you know is possible. Book a free consultation with me today at www.learntothrivewithadhd.com/services. I look forward to meeting you.